How do kids come up with stuff?
He
like
goes,
this?
I never thought I'd have to tell them. Don't
open the bottles
of
on the stairs
liquid and throw it
pour
down
them
the stairs.
Anyway.
One of those things.
All right. But I'm kind of excited because today we're going to talk about a couple different things, stimulus check related. So there is a bill out for a $2,000 a month stimulus plan. So I want to talk a little bit about that, about what we know about it so far. And then
we
talk
giving
about...
our opinion or no?
I don't know. Sure. Why not? And then we can talk about...
You have to listen to us.
Then we can talk about some smart ways to spend the stimulus that you may have received or will be receiving. And then the other one, if we receive it.
And yes, Heather, it does still smell like vinegar in our house.
Yeah. It's like half a jug. It's like... I mean, these are big jugs. They're like a half-gallon jugs.
Oh, my
gosh. All right. So here's what we need to know, or what we know about the... So there is a proposed bill by, I don't remember, Democrat from California and Ohio. Put this bill together. It's called the Emergency Money for the People Act. And this thing is crazy. So it would mean... everybody over the age of 16 would get a $2,000 check per month for 6 months with an option.
Wait, over the age of 16?
Yeah, 17-year-olds will get $2,000 per month for 6 months with the option of them renewing it for another 6 months. So it's possible this could go on for 12 months.
Oh, my gosh.
So married couples would get $4,000 per month for up to possibly a year. So this is
what is a 16
crazy.
or 17-year-old going to do with $2,000 a month?
Stimulate the economy. Like, I don't know. So anyway.
I guarantee you they're already stimulating the economy.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, it's called the Emergency Money for the People Act. And so far.
I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think about this.
Yeah. So anyway. So far, where we are in the process is that it hasn't passed the House or the Senate yet. I think that's the order it goes, is House then Senate, I think. Everything's been so kind of all over the place with... They wanted to get more money into the PPP business kind of stimulus thing. Like, that was the top priority of Congress. And so that just happened, I guess within the last week or so. And so it appears like there's not much interest for this bill. So, and additionally, like, this is something that I think it's a stretch that all the Republicans are going to get on board with. It seems a little bit, I don't know, pretty zealous, overzealous, maybe not. I don't know. I think it's just going to matter how things play out as we kind of transition back to reality. And if unemployment still continues to skyrocket, then maybe this could be something that could happen. But at this point, it definitely has not passed the House or the Senate, so it's just a bill at this point. But pretty interesting, for sure. So
this is good, yeah. So somebody's saying they'll be getting checks, but their generation is going to pay for it after.
Tell me about it.
This is like insane. That's an insane amount of money, and it feels I'm against it. I mean, I do think it could help some people, but there's not any filter for who is going to get it and who's not.
Yeah,
we're
honestly, gonna get it.
I don't want to get it. I don't need it. Yeah, I would rather that go.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that need it, but
go in debt for
there's
this.
Also, and you've probably hopefully you've seen some of our other videos. Like, there's so many benefits to this CARES Act and things that are available in terms of mortgage protection that allow you to not pay your mortgage for an extended amount of time with no consequence. And just a whole bunch of other things kind of rolled up into this CARES Act. And I don't know. And a lot of companies are being really gracious on deferring car payments. And credit cards even have systems in place to handle it. So I'm not saying that people aren't struggling. I know plenty of people who are really struggling. But I'm kind of this is crazy.
This seems, really intense.
That's just a lot. I cannot imagine how many more trillions of dollars they'll add to our national debt.
Yeah.
We already added $2.5 trillion, I think, with the CARES Act. Maybe more at this point. I don't really know.
So Chelsea is saying, I really don't think it will pass, but I think another check should go out to help the economy and the people.
Yeah, like there is a wide margin, like between doing another $1,200 check versus
$2,000 a month.
Yeah,
especially for 17-year-olds.
Up to 20. That would be $24,000 if they extended it for the entire year per person. Crazy.
I've spent it already.
Yeah.
Right? Who else is like, oh yeah, I could. Okay, the Senate wouldn't be on board to give $2,000 a month.
It seems
I hope so.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But just so you know, that's a bill that is out there, and it's got some backing. A couple of Democrats have backed it and pushed it in. So anyway, all right. So let's talk a little bit about some smart ways to spend the stimulus check that you may have gotten, or maybe you haven't gotten. I know some of you haven't gotten it yet. I know that I read an article yesterday that said that basically they rolled out a lot of the payments whenever that was, like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. It's all so blurry right now. And then they're doing like a second round where they're going to be rolling out a whole bunch more, and that one is going to take longer. Sorry for anybody who hasn't gotten it. No, I don't know what that's going to mean for you, but anyway. So if you haven't gotten it or if you haven't spent it yet, we're going to talk about some smart kind of ways and things that you can do that. And we have pulled this from an article. I just love finding articles that, just give me kind of an outline of things to talk about, so it works out really nice. Mm-hmm. And this one, like, there's 2 or 3 points in here that I just 100% agree with, and I would have written myself, and so it's like, it's a good starting point. So anyway, these are 6 kind of smart ways to spend your stimulus check.
Mm-hmm. Rob's asking if you should buy Bitcoin.
Let me see if that one's on here. I don't know. I don't see it, buddy.
Nope.
Although, I'm not going to go down a big crypto rabbit trail right now, but I don't think it's a terrible idea to buy a little bit of cryptocurrency. I think we were talking about this in
Rob,
February.
Send us a message later.
In February, like the Bitcoin thing is just insane. Because, I mean, you guys probably know this, maybe you don't, but there are a lot of really young kids who, I mean, are multi-millionaires because they bought some Bitcoin when, whatever, it was a couple dollars or something like that. And it was such a long shot, but, it really obviously turned into something. And who knows if it will ultimately turn into something. I'm pretty optimistic about cryptocurrency as a whole, that I think some form of blockchain kind of cryptocurrency thing will eventually work, but it's just a question of when and which one, because there's probably thousands of different cryptocurrencies, and most of them are going to be worthless at some point. So anyway, just interesting type of thing. I wouldn't put a whole lot of money into it if you're viewing it as an investment, but anyway, all right, let's talk about some 6 smart ways to kind of spend your stimulus money. First one is saving for retirement. I love you, Rob. You're cracking me up. Rob says Bitcoin is my money doubling machine.
Yeah, take it to Vegas.
There you go. That is, don't quote us on that. First way is to save for retirement. So one of the things that, if you don't know, we're huge proponents of the Roth IRA. I love the Roth IRA for most people, most situations, because you get to put money in there after taxes, after you pay taxes on it. And then you get to put it in this account, and whatever you can invest in whatever you want in there. But it just grows tax-free. Then you can withdraw it tax-free. And that's just... that seems like a loophole that I'm just surprised that the government still is allowing us to do. And I just wouldn't be surprised if they remove this at some point, because it just is a really fantastic deal. So quick illustration here. If you put in, like, if you did this as in a regular IRA, you're putting the money in before taxes. So that's nice. You get that kind of tax advantage there of putting it in before taxes. But it grows, and say it grows to $500,000. When you pull that out, then you have to pay a tax bill on that. And so you're paying taxes on $500K that you're pulling out. Versus if you do it the other way, in a Roth, then you pull out that $500K come retirement time, and you're not paying any taxes on it. It's tax-free withdrawals. And so that's a lot of money. I mean, we might be talking $150,000 in taxes at that point that you would be saving. So there are situations where a regular IRA makes more sense for certain people, but Roth IRA is just really, really cool. Yeah. And they extended the deadline to contribute for IRAs this year, and so it looks like it's July 15th. And so that's cool. So that's one thing you could do. That would kind of be a smart thing to do.
Yeah, real quick, couple of catch-ups. First, we're going to get to all the questions at the end. We were just...
Man, you drank it all.
Sorry. My tea.
You know, I want to drink.
So we're going to chat with all you guys. We were just asking about your comments on this $2,000 per month for 6 months. I think it's TISA or TISA. We don't know if that's going to happen. That's just something that's being mentioned. That's a bill that is maybe
we'll touch on it for a second in a minute. So saving for the retirement thing, I wouldn't put that at the top of my list, because I think at this point, given the state of the economy and all the unknowns, what I would rather do is point number 2 or point number 4. So let's go to point number 2. Point number 2 is to pay off high interest credit cards. And I think if you have some lower balance credit cards, that might not be a bad idea. Like we did that when I got laid off, and we were entering a time of massive uncertainty. So I got laid off, and I decided I was going to start a business that was not making very much money. And so we just had a lot of uncertainty financially. And so we got rid of as many credit cards that had low balances on them, so that we could free up the $50, $100 payments each month. So to reduce our expenses by doing that. And then the other thing we did, which is point number 4, so we'll just jump over there, is we put it in our emergency fund. And that's what I think the best idea for a lot of people right now, because I think a lot of people do not have an emergency fund. I think a lot of people now realize, man, it would have been good if I created an emergency fund, whatever, in 2018. Because now I'd be sitting a little bit more comfortably. And so, and I know just, from, the statistics that not many people have a good emergency fund, like 3 to 6 months expenses. And so this is a good way to get a jump start on that. That's what's good about this stimulus check. And that's what I would recommend for a lot of people, because we don't know what kind of uncertainty that we're going into. I think we're going to find out a lot these next couple months as we begin to transition back to some semblance of normal. I'm sure it's not going to be normal for a long time. But in Tennessee, we have a phased plan that starts on May 1st, where a whole bunch of shops are opening up. And
I'm so excited.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of smart how they're doing it, but it's, what is it, like a whole bunch of shops open up, and then if the rate...
For 14 days, if the rate stays the same, or
the rate
or
of
goes down,
infection, right?
Yeah, cases.
Yeah.
Then they will go to phase 2. And if not, then they revert back to the previous phase. So I think it's a 4-phase plan.
So each time it opens up a little bit wider, and if it ever goes up, then they come back to the previous one and just keep going back if it keeps going up. So it seems pretty smart the way they laid it out. But anyway, all that to say, we're, I think as a nation, Trump said we're starting to move forward in this direction. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens, because if it completely backfires and it's just too soon, I think it's just going to really hurt the economy. And not to mention, even if it does work, what is the rebound here? We have, I think, over 26 million people who filed for unemployment. So what happens? How many of those people end up getting jobs back? I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be really interesting to see, that's for sure. But there's a lot of unknowns, and just because the stock market has been doing better the last month, I wouldn't. That is no indication of what's to come. That's.
I am curious too. What's going to happen with the election?
Yeah, I saw this hilarious meme the other day. It was this really funny picture of Trump, and it was Trump. Trump 2020. It was this hilarious picture of him, and it had a quote, and it said, "I just put a fat stack in your bank account, so holla at your boy in November," or something like that.
Oh my gosh. I saw one a couple of weeks ago that was like, he's canceling the election due to the safety measures.
Yeah. That'd be so funny. Anyway, so, all right.
Laugh at something.
Now we'll go backwards. We'll go to point number 3. Give it away.
It's interesting. Yeah, especially because there are some people, I'm seeing some people in the comments talking about they could use it. They know people who could use it. And it's so true. It's like, there are other people, there are businesses, business owners that could really use it. So I think this is a really good one if you're not yourself in personal need right now.
Seed for the sower.
Yeah.
Right?
That is seed for the sower. That's an amazing one.
Yeah. So that's number 3.
That's a consideration I think we should all.
Yeah. And just see. Well, yeah. I mean, and I get this question about every single thing. Like every single source of income, somebody asks me, well, should I tithe on that? 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 And I'm sure somebody's thinking, should I tithe on this? Well, it's like, I would. Like, if you're a tither and you believe in tithing, like, which we do, yeah, we're tithing on our stimulus money.
Yeah. Colorado starts opening up tomorrow. That's amazing.
Good for all y'all get to go hiking out in those mountains. And I wonder if your parks are going to open up. That's another thing. Like we have a trip scheduled in early May to go to Smoky Mountain National Park, which I've never been to. I've never been to a national park. I've wanted to go to national parks for so long. We don't have anyone where we lived in St. Louis. We didn't have any like really near at all. And now we're in Tennessee. We have a couple fairly close, and so we were going to go. And I'm interested to see if it'll be open.
Yeah.
So that'll be really fun. All right, number 5, invest in a 529 college savings plan. And I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, I'm not. 529 is like a good thing in some states. We actually stopped contributing to ours because I don't know what's going to happen with college education by the time our kids get to that point. I know that there will still be college education, but I just feel like education as a whole has changed so much. Like if I were 18 years old right now, and knew what I knew right now, like there's no way I would go to college. Like I would go down any number of different career paths and I would go find people who are really good at it and buy their course. And so like I can name off like 10 different online kind of entrepreneurial or freelance type jobs where, so say you want to be like a photographer or something. Like I have a friend who has this fantastic course on teaching you how to be a photographer and actually how to do it with style and well. And you could go to a college and get a degree in that or videography or something like that. But it's going to take you 4 years. And to be honest, like most of what you're going to learn is like outdated stuff. And it just makes so much more sense. It's so so much better to go through somebody who's an expert online teaching the thing. And it's going to be for like a fraction of the price, Yeah, and I'm thinking about, like, I jumped around in college. I was an architect major for a year. I was an audio production major for about a year. And that's another field where I could have gone down that path, and it was one of the really good schools for that at the time. But compared to the online education that I could get now from experts in that field, it just is no comparison. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be, like, I'd pay maybe $1,000 for the course or something like that versus $50,000 for the college education. And I probably would be better at my craft after doing, depending on what the course is. Like, sure, not all are great, but
right. Well, and also,
I've seen this happen over and over again.
Depends on your specialty. If you want to be a doctor,
yeah, oh, absolutely,
or a nurse,
that's 100% true. Thank you for saying that.
Yes.
Yes, there are certain things where you need a degree.
You're like, just go take a course and you can do surgery. It'll be fine.
Yeah, brain surgery course on Thinkific. But like, in terms of being a businessman, an entrepreneur, whatever we are, I went to business school. I spent 4 years in business school. Spent probably close to $50,000.
Oh my gosh! We did it again.
We did it again. So now you can probably hear us a little better. Sorry about that, everybody.
Oh, YouTube. Sorry.
Anyway, so I went to business school, and I feel like everything valuable I learned about business came after I left business school. And the books I read or the courses I bought, and it's just funny how that works. But anyway, my point in saying all that, this is a long tangent here, is that college education, man.
That was a really long tangent.
I'm just not super optimistic about the future of it. And I think it'll be a slow death. I think there's going to be years to come while a college degree might have some value still. But
I think the idea is just that, like, everybody's so for education, and we are for education also. I think just what education looks like has changed.
Yeah,
at
and
least
part of
in
this,
America.
Yeah, and part of the problem here is that the student loan crisis and the insanity of these universities just continuing to jack up prices to the point where it's like it costs you $100,000 to get this degree, and I don't know. Yeah. It's just insane what's happened. And all that to say, like, we stopped contributing to a 529. We have some money in there for our kids, but I don't know that they're going to use it. And at this moment, it's really limited on the expenses you can actually use it on, the qualified expenses. And so therefore, I don't want whatever $20,000-$30,000 in that account if we're handcuffed, to use it for something. So anyway.
Number 6 is support local businesses.
So yeah, I honestly think this should be number 1, because this is the intent. It's a stimulus check to stimulate the economy. So I think this should be number 1, and I'm not saying that this is what everybody should do, but like when we got the check in 2008. That stimulus check, like we just prayed about it and we felt like this is what we were supposed to do with it at that time, and that's what we did. This one we haven't done anything with yet, but I think we are probably going to stimulate the economy with it. We have a decent sized emergency fund at this point. It is pretty weird, isn't it? Anyway, we have a decent sized emergency fund.
Yeah, I have some good ideas.
And Linda can definitely find somewhere for us to spend it, right?
Always. Got lots of ideas. Okay, so let's just go through them really quick.
Let me add one more thing here. The other thing is, like, when we say supporting local businesses, I think it's easy to mentally just think of, I'm supporting a business. But reality, what that means is you're supporting an individual. Because if it's a local small business, you're supporting someone with a family and who has employees who is dealing with a lot of challenges right now. If it's a big organization, it's a whole different ballgame. But, we're a small business, and when somebody buys something from us, like, it means something. We get excited and we know about it. You know what I mean? But if you buy something from Amazon, like, no one knows and no one really cares. But like, we get excited and high five each other when somebody buys something from us. So supporting a small business does that. Right. So you're actually helping another person. You're helping their employees, and it's just so much more tangible. And yeah. So anyway, all right.
Okay, let's go over them really fast. So number 1 was to save for retirement. Number 2, pay off high interest debt. 3 is give it away. 4 is save up, put it in.
Keep going. Keep trying.
Stick it in your emergency fund and build that baby up. And then number 5 is invest in a 529 college savings plan. And number 6 is support local businesses. So that is that.
Lucky 3 says, as a small business owner, yes, we do get excited with each purchase. I saw this
Lucky
one
3,
throw
what's your business?
Yeah. Throw your website in here so we can see what you're selling.
We can all check it out.
I saw, what was that thing we saw where it said every time you buy from a small business or whatever, every time you shop local, like
an actual person does a happy dance or something like that.
Yeah, and I think it was in something we bought. Didn't they put the little card in there or something? Anyway.
Probably.
So that and I'll add this too, because I'm working on this book on giving right now, and part of what I'm writing about is that this is an act of generosity. When you choose to spend, intentionally don't shop just for the cheapest price or for the most convenient thing, but to actually go out of your way to support a local or small business. That is an act of generosity, and you can view it as that. So if Amazon is selling this widget for $15 and it's going to cost you $20 or $25 to buy it from this local business, like, just view it as that. And like, don't view it as I'm getting ripped off because it's $10 cheaper at Amazon. View it as I'm giving this guy, $10, and this is me sowing into his life or her life or whatever.
And starting to give Amazon a run for their money.
Yeah, Amazon. Right? All right. Here's the tricky thing about Amazon is that Amazon is the behemoth, but within Amazon, there are millions of small business owners running their own businesses on Amazon. So this is where it's tricky, because it's like, it's easy to just hate Walmart because they're the big behemoth, but Amazon has done it differently because they're actually a platform for tons of small business owners. And so I have a lot of friends who are small businesses, but they're on the Amazon platform. So
is there an easy way to
it makes it harder to hate Amazon, and just like say, yeah, boycott Amazon because there's actually small business owners
probably
there.
part of their plan all along.
Well, whatever. Bezos is absolutely brilliant. There's
no doubt.
Very, very smart businessman.
Okay, there are a ton of comments, so we should get to those because
Okay.
it is almost 8:30 already.
All right. Mark says, I agree with you. Unfortunately, too many people have the mindset of trying to get the most product for the least cost. They don't care about quantity or quality. They're driven by strictly cost. Yeah,
that's true.
And Mark, I feel like Amazon has kind of trained us in that. I know for me, like so many of us, it's like we look at reviews and we look at who's the lowest priced. And that is how we make all of our buying decisions. And Amazon has just changed commerce over the last decade with their reviews. They were the ones who made that a thing. Anyway, so it's like so many people are trained in that, Mark, and that's part of what, that's why I'm saying this. Like I want to help people break out of that mindset and let's see this as an act of generosity to support local businesses, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So Lucky 3 is making cloth masks. That's awesome.
Oh, great.
So here, random question, just because I'm curious. So I go to the grocery store each weekend, and here in Middle Tennessee, the cloth mask thing, every single week there's more people wearing them. And, so 2 weeks ago, I'd go to the farmer's market, I'd go to the grocery store, and there were about maybe 5% of the people in the whole store were wearing cloth masks. There's no order for us to wear them or anything like that. And it's just very, very rare. But I went today, and it was probably, I would guess, 40 to 50% of the people in there had masks on. And I was just telling Linda, because I haven't worn one, and I understand the benefit of it. But, last I was in there, like, no one was wearing them. And now I go there, and everybody's wearing, probably half the people wearing them. I'm like, all right, okay, now it's time for me to start wearing one. Because I think the understanding is that it's a sign of respect, because I know I'm not sick, but they don't know that, and now I'm protecting whatever. So I'm curious for all of you, what's it like in the stores where you are? And some of you might have mandatory things. Didn't New York say, it says Illinois, we're required to wear them in public. So for the other states, like what are the ratios that you're seeing when you go to the store of how many people are wearing them?
The majority of people wear them in Colorado.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. We're just silent on here. Sorry.
Rusty said our farmer's market. So our farmer's market is actually doing really well, and it's funny. It's not funny. It's just the tension of this whole thing. But the farmer's market, they were getting a lot of flack for being open, but they're selling food, and I would much rather buy it from a farmer's market than a grocery store. Like, it's an open air farmer's market, and the grocery store has so much more traffic to it, and it's tight and closed. And anyway, so the farmer's market just defended themselves and said, we are an essential business and we can stay open. And a lot of the vendors have stayed there, which I'm thankful for. But I would so much rather buy food. And again, that's from small farmers, small business owners, and it's open air. I think it's probably so much less likely to be a threat for catching the virus.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's a couple of people saying 100%. In Texas, you're saying it's 100%.
Wow.
Eastern Montana, 50-50. How's Eastern Montana? That sounds amazing. Indiana, 25 to 50%.
So, Jackie, does Montana even have any reported cases? Like, weren't there some states that, like, basically just didn't have any cases? Yeah, you can just answer it. I'm just curious. All right, so this is interesting. So, a lot of these 50-50 ones are kind of what we're seeing in Middle Tennessee. But it's been fascinating because, like I said, 2 weeks ago when I was in the store, it was so much different. Like, it was very, very rare to see anyone with a mask on. Mm-hmm. And now, like I said, it's probably about 40 or 50%.
People. Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm going to have to get my mask out and start wearing it when I go out. Because that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Okay, should we go? Wow, there's so many comments. Okay. Arkansas.
All we need to do is talk about the coronavirus. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody's an expert.
25% were wearing masks, and not their staff. Yeah, there's a lot of places here I feel like where the staff is required to wear it. So like
everybody at the grocery store was wearing it today.
Has to wear them.
And they have these big. This is probably common in all the grocery stores, but these big, huge plexiglass, look like hockey rink things that they're wrapped around them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Being outside is so big. Yeah, that's true. 70%. I'm a nurse, and I know prohibits droplet transfer, which is how coronavirus is spread. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, so don't hate on me if I haven't been wearing one yet. I'm going to start wearing it now.
100% in Palm Springs. It's required in grocery stores. Southeast New Mexico, 85% wearing masks. Wow. Different in different places.
Yeah.
We are required to in Michigan now. Wow. I have a friend in Michigan.
All right, let's go back. I want to hit some of these questions. So Gilda was asking about eBay. And I'm not sure, Gilda, if you're talking about eBay as in selling stuff, like as a small business owner. It's been a while, but I actually built an eBay business years ago just to see if I could do it, kind of as a backup plan. And basically what I did was I went to a wholesaler who was selling guitar necks. So if you can see can you see it? Is it back there? You can't really see it. Anyway, I have a guitar back here. But anyway, the neck is the part where the frets are and the strings are over. And for anybody who doesn't know, sorry. And so I bought a bunch of replacement guitar necks. And then I bought them wholesale from this company. I still buy them in a small quantity. I think I bought like 10 of them or something like that. And then I sold them on eBay for the list price or the selling price, and which made me probably like a $40 or $50 profit on each one of them. So I ended up selling like 10 or 12 of these things, and yeah, I think I made probably $600 or $700 just from selling 7 or whatever. What did I just say? However many guitar necks it was, 10 or something. And so anyway, it was just kind of an experiment to see, all right, can I do this? And yeah, and I think that model still can work, but your margins are probably pretty slim. I know there's some people who have businesses where they will go into. I knew somebody who was making a full-time living going into like TJ Maxx and Marshalls and looking for certain brands of stuff, and then they would go sell it on eBay for more. And oftentimes they go to clearance rack. Like one guy was going to the clearance rack and only finding like big and tall stuff in certain brands, like Fubu, idea. Big and tall, or something like that. But just like kind of off the beaten path stuff, and then he would go to eBay and he'd be able to sell it for a premium over that, and that was his business. We had another friend who paid off $80,000 in debt.
Yeah, Brian's watching.
Oh yeah, he's on here, really?
Well, he was a minute ago.
Well, anyway, Brian, say hey if you're on here. Maybe you can come on and tell us your story. But he sold up $80,000 or paid off $80,000 of debt just working on Saturdays. He would go to thrift stores and garage sales and buy this junk stuff, I don't know, whatever, and then he would turn around and sell it on eBay. And so there's definitely a lot of money that can be made there. Anyway,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna see if there's any other questions up here.
Is the plan approved? Okay, the $2,000 a month plan.
Yeah, let's come back to that for people who got on late.
Yeah.
So long story short, no, the $2,000 a month thing is not approved. It's far from it.
Yeah.
It is just a bill at this point. Yeah, it's a bill that hasn't passed the House, hasn't passed the Senate. I think the general consensus is that it probably won't, but I think it also depends on how bad things get. Mm-hmm. I think, and somebody mentioned there's other bills similar that have been presented, and so I think if things get bad, there will be another stimulus of some sort. But doing the $2,000 a month for 6 to 12 months per person, that's a big leap. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is a good question. What kind of discounts do you see happening to take advantage over the next 6 months? Cars, real estate?
That is a great question. So one of the things I was talking about the other day, here's what I'm waiting on. So we sold off a good amount of our investments, kind of as this was all happening, and not selling it off honestly, kind of as it was coming back up, because I don't think, and again, this is my opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, but I'm whatever. I'm thinking that the economy is going to come back down, that we are going to see a major hit in the stock market again. And anyway, so I am planning on, I have a lot in cash right now, and I am planning on kind of following Warren Buffett's lead a little bit. So if you don't know, Warren Buffett is sitting on 128 billion
with a B.
With a B.
With a B.
$billion. And he's been sitting around waiting for the right time to invest in something. This is like one of the most patient men in the universe. And he just doesn't buy businesses or stocks if it's not a good deal. And he waits for stuff like this to happen. And as of March, I'm trying to think when we have the last thing. So, as of March, at the end of March, he had not bought anything. He actually sold, or it was a net sell. He sold off a couple companies. So even though the stock market had crashed like crazy, or a good amount, I think it's 25% drop, he hadn't bought anything yet. And so once we should find out by May 2nd or May 15th, because basically he has to disclose what he buys, but we don't know it right away. It takes a couple weeks before it becomes out in the public or whatever. So once he starts buying, not that he knows everything either, but he's a lot better investor than I am. And once he starts buying and spending that $128 billion,
you're going to go for it?
I'm going to be like, all right,
it's time.
Warren thinks it's a good time to buy, so I'm going to start buying a little bit. So that's one of the things I'm going to look at. That's not the only thing I'm going to pay attention to.
We're going to start buying whatever Warren buys.
I'm not necessarily going to, he buys some things I don't agree with, because there's more than just, like, this is another component of this. Like, in terms of investing, there are companies that he buys that I don't feel morally okay buying, and so that's part of the equation as well. But in terms of him being one of the best, if not the best investor the world has ever seen, I'm gonna follow his shadow a little bit and see what he does.
Yeah.
So all that to say, what kind of discounts do you see happening? Real estate's going to be really interesting. We have some money invested in real estate, and
what about oil?
Another interesting thing to consider with real estate. This is just something I was thinking about. There are so many businesses now that have been working from home. They've been running their businesses with all their employees at home, and I think a lot of these businesses who maybe never would have considered this ever before, because I feel like I can't manage employees if they're not in the office with me, they're like, wow, this is working, and this is actually really nice. And a lot of those businesses, I am wondering if some of them are be like, all right, we're paying a whole lot of money for all this office space and everybody can work at home. Like, why not just keep doing this and save tons of money each month on rent? So that is one for commercial real estate. That's a concern of mine. I think that is something we might see change a lot after this thing over the next
yawn got me.
I don't know. Business.
Sorry.
Over the next year, but I don't know. We'll see. Cars, I know cars are not selling right now. I think that'll be, you can probably get a deal right now.
Yeah, I think probably any kind of clothes except for lounge clothes is not selling.
Yeah. Phil's asking about oil. Yeah, oil is crazy. I have no idea. I really don't know anything about oil, but I think it's just been crazy how it's been happening. How can you also follow Warren? Yeah, so I'll post a video about this as soon as I see anything, but I just pay I pay attention to what's going on with him and what he does. When he makes a purchase, it's really rare. The guy will go 5 years without buying a stock, and all he does is sits and reads all day and just is patient and waits until a good deal comes around. The level of patience he has is just insane, and it's so much different than Wall Street and the Wall Street approach to investing. And and the proof is in the pudding. Look at him and look at every other Wall Street manager and look at their net worth. So Warren Buffett, whatever, he's second, third richest in the world, and possibly will be the richest after this is all done again. Bezos is probably going to stay up there too. But anyway. So as far as following Warren, here's what, I just pay attention to the news and read, investing sites, and they have all that information on them. So one simple thing you can do, if you have the Google app where you can kind of select the different topics that you're interested in, you can just search for or add Berkshire Hathaway, that's his company, or Warren Buffett, and I'm sure you'll see everything you need to see. Because as soon as he does something, like there are going to be tons of people talking about it and writing about it. It's not going to be
joke.
It's not going to be super quiet. So
does it seem that the cure is worse than the disease? That we'll never be able to pay this off.
No, I mean, I think absolutely. Like, we're going to see inflation because of this. So, yeah, the stimulus checks that we're getting, it's a big chunk of money, but the actual value of it is just going to go down. And I think the years to come, we're going to see that. And then, not to mention, China owns so much of the U.S. now. And
Trump's not worried about China, apparently.
It's just a really,
Trimp.
Just a scary place that we're in right now. And I'm just glad that, we serve King Jesus and that this is not...
That's right.
Yeah, and we're temporary citizens in this world, and we'll have tribulation, but be of good cheer because Jesus overcome the world. So.
Oh. Right there.
I wish I had some tea to drink right now. I have a tea bag in here. That's about it.
Get stuck on that.
That's a great idea.
Like, suck the juice out.
That's so gross.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right.
Is that it? I mean, I know there were so many more comments. Thank you guys for...
Spring highly favored. Yes, I agree. I think that is something that would be really cool if that came out of this a little bit, where we start becoming a nation of producers instead of consumers, and we start creating stuff, like actual stuff, because now all we do, all of our country, all we do is just, we like to manage things, and we like to be idea people, but not actually create anything. And we've seen a little bit of that with the maker movement and, just the desire to have handcrafted goods and things like that. There's a little bit of a trend, at least with millennials, with all that. Yeah. And I think that's a good step in the right direction. But we need to bring a lot more back to the U.S. and make stuff. It'd be good.
Real quick, Lisa was asking if we had heard anything about how the stimulus is going to affect our 2020 taxes.
Oh, yeah. I believe...
100% of our income goes to them.
Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty confident, if I remember reading right, that it's tax-free income, that it isn't. It's not taxed. If somebody else knows, you can paste that in the comments. But I'm pretty sure that's what I remember reading. And I will say this too: all of this stuff, the stimulus stuff. Because as soon as this stuff started rolling out, we were making videos about it, talking about it, and giving all the details, and it's constantly changing. And so they're literally changing the rules, after people are taking action on it. So even if that wasn't the case, it could be the case, or vice versa. But I think I understand that it's not going to be taxed. Last I read.
Okay, great.
So Rob's asking about when are the $10,000 checks coming. I think you were talking about the EIDL, Rob, and if that's the case, that is a check for business owners from the Small Business Administration, and it is not. Again, this was one of those things they changed initially when they rolled it out. They said, "Oh yeah, it's $10,000 check," and then they backpedaled and said, "No, it's up to $10,000, so it's $1,000 per employee." And so it instantly went from being a $10,000 check for a lot of people to being a $1,000 check. And I don't know. That's something that we did apply for, and we haven't gotten it. I haven't heard anything about it. So I don't really know. You can reach out to the SBA, though, Small Business Administration, and see.
See if they'll answer the phone is what you mean.
Yeah. Wait on hold for 6 hours or something. But anyway.
Awesome. Okay.
Okay, all right, we're going to sign off for tonight.
Yeah.
We will see y'all tomorrow. We're going to talk about, rest, sabbaticals, Sabbath rest, the importance of all of it, and all this stuff. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.
You guys are awesome.
Night.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, be blessed. Be a blessing.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye. This one?
Uh-oh, you flipped it around.
I flipped it around. And now. All right.
Good night.
See y'all.